Trina and Heather know what it means to be unstoppable. From humble beginnings, they followed these core principles to unimaginable success. The problem at hand? Medical scrubs. They're baggy and they fit horribly. They even advertise your size in big, bold letters for all the world to see. The duo didn't wait for the silver platter. They didn't wait for venture capital or a perfect game plan or feasibility studies. Their new business, a company called Figs, was born. Figs scrubs were a total departure from the norm. Trina and Heather, they kept on keeping on. The result? Less than 6 years after selling prototypes from the trunk of their car, Trina and Heather led the company through an IPO on the New York Stock Exchange. And at the end of opening day, the company was valued at $6.8 billion. Life knocks us all down at one point or another. Those setbacks are just to test our resolve. But now, you have a choice. Will you let those challenges define you? Or now that you have all the tools you need, will you instead decide to become unstoppable? Thank you. All right, welcome back. You're watching The Hunt. I'm Trish, and I'm with my guest, Trent Killian. He's the VP of Marketing for Slrrrp Shots. You can find them all over the place in a lot of different stores, Walmart, soon to be Costco, and many, many more, as well as social media. Welcome back to the show, Trent.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. So, so we started talking about this product. So are you manufacturing in the United States?
We are currently outsourcing the actual manufacturing, but it's an incredible facility. It's basically gotten, I think it was a 98 out of 100 by some of the independent auditors that Costco uses, and they have incredibly high standards.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, all right, let's go back to the beginning then. So you have the idea, and then what would you say, just a startup mentality, the qualities of people, like just for those watching at home, there's so many of us that have ideas, but don't know how to take that first step to turn it into an actual viable business. So what would be your advice?
Well, I mean, for, blood, sweat, and tears, certainly, and just basically finding people that complement your skill sets. Because if you obviously have somebody that's really good at one thing and you have another person that's really good at that same thing, it kind of limits how quickly you can expand and whatnot. We've done spent a lot of time and energy trying to find the right people that round out the skill set. So we have specialists in a lot of different lanes, and that really helps us because you can find those solutions a lot easier.
No, for sure. So, and just would you recommend to people at home, again, because on this show we do talk about inspiring stories and stories that encourage people that sometimes are stuck, in a certain place and want to move forward, and just that whole entrepreneurial spirit, if you will, because there's people that could have their day jobs but also aspire, to do other things. So when you're moving down that direction, I mean, are you working every day with people, just meetings, 12 hours a day, fill in the blanks? I mean, I don't know, like, what does it feel like?
No, it's every day is different. And, whenever because we are such a small company, we can pivot very quickly. So, when you have an opportunity pop up, making sure that you don't drag your feet on it. And, some of the projects we used to work on for some of those bigger companies when I was at a marketing agency, I mean, we'd be working on 6 month or a year lead time on just a, standard program, like a marketing, retail marketing campaign. But, when we see something, we see an opportunity, we're all over it. And we basically, we have probably hundreds of hours a week worth of work to do, but we have to be pretty picky about where we spend that time because we're still a pretty small team. So, identifying what those priorities are and sticking to them, seeing them through, that's absolutely imperative for our business anyway.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's what you have to do in any business, right? And so during the pandemic, as you were building up, what would you say got you through the day?
A couple of Slurp
shots.
No, I would say just essentially trying to make sure that we were aligning our efforts on the things that were going to move the business, because that it was a constantly changing landscape, and we had to really identify those things and go, okay, well, all hands on deck for this particular thing or that particular thing. For example, I don't know if you've ever heard of Rocco's. It's a bar in Omaha, Nebraska. They have they call it the world's largest Jello Shots challenge, or the World Series of Baseball Jello Shot challenge. And they started posting about it on social media. It started going viral. We initially, started contacting them right away because that was, it's a short window. So it's a week-long event, and we wanted to be a part of it. So we called them up, tried to figure out what we could do to support the initiative, and they were using our product for this competition, and that turned into a huge charity event, and we did a large donation for a couple of the schools that were leading the competition. And that was something that had to happen. We dropped everything. I mean, we had probably 6 people drop everything to try to support that as best we could, because they were running out of products. They were selling thousands of Jello shots at a time. Gelatin shots at a time. And it's those sorts of things where you see an opportunity and you have to jump on it or you miss it.
Yeah, no, that is such a great lesson learned, I think, is being aware and not having those opportunities, pass you by, and just being ready for it. That's such a great lesson learned. And how are your supply chain issues just, with the pandemic and everything, and just now in the environment that we're all living in with, higher inflation and just the gas issues and everything, the energy crisis is everywhere. So how's the supply chain been for you guys?
It's a constantly moving target. So we are always trying to figure out ways to improve that process. Largely, we are in a pretty good spot with that. It is difficult because certain aspects of the actual supply chain and alcohol aren't always in our control. So we control what we can, and then as far as things actually getting to the store from the distributor and whatnot, we just have to continue to open up those lines of communication and make sure that the distributors see it as a priority as well. And because our product is almost always an incremental sale. It's somebody's going to buy a beer and a shot. They're not just going to buy a shot, or they're going to buy a case of beer and a jar of gelatin shots. So, making sure that they really see that opportunity and the retailers really see that opportunity is a huge piece of our business, and just educating them on how that can benefit them as well,
Yeah, no, another few lessons learned there for those aspiring entrepreneurs out there. So we just have just a few seconds left. Trent, what's next for Slrrrp?
We have a number of different innovations in the pipeline. We're working on some pretty exciting partnerships with some live music venues and some sports stadiums and things like that. So there's just we're just scratching the surface, and there's a long and bright future ahead.
Awesome. Well, congratulations to you and the team. Thank you so much. Come back and join us sometime. We'd like to hear an update on how you're doing. Thanks, everybody. You've been watching The Hunt. We'll be back in a minute. Stay tuned.